right. Well, good morning and good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to today's Exploring by the Seat of Your Pants event. My name is Joe Gorowski, and I'll be your host for today. Here we are, our final live event of 2022. It has been a great December so far. We've taken virtual field trips to places all over the world. We've seen sea turtles hatching and being released on the beaches in Nicaragua. We've celebrated big cats, talking to scientists, explorers, and conservationists from around the world, sharing the great work they're doing with big cats. We even explored the human body with the Gardner Foundation, learning about all kinds of exciting medical breakthroughs in studying diseases around the world. So it has been a jam-packed December, and we're going to end things off with a little virtual field trip to South Africa. So joining us today, we are heading to SANCCOB, a South African penguin and seabird rehabilitation center located in South Africa. They provide 24/7 rescue service for sick and injured seabirds and abandoned sea chicks. Their specialist chick rearing unit saves African penguin eggs and chicks that have been abandoned and eventually releases them back into the wild. So today we're really lucky to have educator Alex Rogers joining us, and he's going to take us around the facility. And I have a feeling we're going to get to meet one or two of those South African penguin chicks. So I'm going to bring Alex in live with us right now. Hey, Alex, how you doing today?
All good, Joe. How's it going on your side?
It's good, Alex. I'm so excited to be having this virtual field trip as our final trip of 2022. You guys do incredible work at SANCCOB, so it's a real pleasure to be having you with us today.
Thank you very much for everybody joining me, and thanks so much for the introduction, Joe. So, as mentioned, my name is Alex. I am the educator here.
All right, Alex, I'm not sure if you can still hear me, but you've been on screen perfectly this whole time leading up to when we went live. And then, of course, we have a little dip with the connection. So Alex will likely duck out and then rejoin us. We did a test call the other day and it went really well, but there's occasionally when he moves from spot to spot, it kind of ducks out there and then he has to reconnect. So with any luck, he'll be kicked out and rejoining us very, very shortly. But while we wait for that, I do want to give a shout out to the classrooms we have joining us. We have a huge group of classrooms joining us from across Canada and the United States today. I know it's an exciting day. This will be your final day of school before the holidays. Good sign. Alex was just kicked out of the call, which means he'll have to come in and rejoin us. And hopefully we'll get a nice clean signal until he moves to the next part of the facility. So if that happens once or twice today, it's just a product of where he is. They're in a remote area of South Africa, so the signal's not always perfect. But I have a feeling once he comes back in, we'll have a nice, good signal for a little bit. If you are joining us via YouTube, say hi in the chat bar. And don't forget, that's the best spot to drop your questions. So we have groups in Minnesota, in Creemore, Ontario, Brampton, Ontario, Etobicoke, groups in Quebec saying hi, Toronto, New Jersey. Great to see everybody. And then hopefully we'll have Alex rejoining us here shortly. It's just a bummer it froze right in the middle of his introduction because he's been in probably about 20 minutes backstage with me and we've had a nice, beautiful, clear signal. But with any luck, we will have him back very, very shortly. And I'll try and send just a little message to him as well, just to see if he's having some trouble. All right. Just bear with me for 1 second while I send Alex a message. Oh, and I think that might be him backstage right now. It is. Perfect.
Sorry about that, guys. So we just got hit by load.
Yeah.
So
no worries, Alex. I told him that might happen from time to time. If you see that happen again, just do what you did. Come back in and we'll just roll with it.
Okay, awesome. So guys, as mentioned, we take care of seabirds. I am just going to turn the camera around just to show you a few of our seabirds at the moment in our center. And here they are. So currently we have a number of African penguins swimming right now. We're just getting them back into the pens. And these pools are a very vital aspect in terms of their rehabilitation. So the ways in which we get them better again. And we have 7 main reasons why we make them swim. This is a gym for them. It's exercise. It is also a bath for them. It encourages them to preen and maintain their feather quality. It is also a social and fun activity for them to de-stress and relax. It is used to cool them down, very, very important during spring and summer, which is what it is right now on our side of the world. And as you can see, some of the penguins really don't want to get out. Yeah, they're very good at escaping, just to let you guys know. This is also used for physio for certain kinds of conditions. And it's also used to test the waterproofing of their feathers. And they drink from this water, which is why we have to clean this water several times a day. So this is all very, very important. But these animals are here because they're getting better. And we have to release them back into the wild. So a lot of our seabird species, guys, are endangered, which means that there's very few of them left in the wild. So over here, we just have a pen filled with some more penguins. At the moment, the majority of the birds in our center are African penguins. We get on average about 2,000 to 2,500 every year, so we get birds almost every single day. But if you think about it, it's a lot far easier and faster to capture a injured penguin than, say, for instance, a seagull or a cormorant, because penguins can't fly. So it's a lot easier to actually catch them. But you might notice that there's a bit of a difference in coloration. So some of these guys look like the penguins you're used to seeing. They're black and they're white, but others in between them have this more bluish gray plumage. I'm just going to see if I can't get lower to show that to you. Ow. Okay, so when it comes to rehab centers, you are kind of, if it's a real rehab center, you're guaranteed to be injured, yeah. So this guy over here is just busy biting me. Okay, thank you very much, good sir. I'm just getting a good view. And you'll notice the one to the right is a more bluish grayish plumage. There's 3 others in the far corner, 4th on the left over there. So that is the only way you can tell the age of a penguin, by looking at the colors of their feathers. So if they're bluish gray, they are blues, which means that they are 3 months old, going on to their 1st year. If they are dark brown, they are teenagers, juvenile, so 1 year onto their 2nd year. And if they are black and white, then they're adults, 2 years and over. And then it's impossible to tell the age of a penguin. Our African penguins actually have a very long lifespan. They live 20 to 25 years, longer than any cat or dog species. And they're very good at surviving and doing what they do, but they face a number of challenges. And those are challenges that are impacting us here in South Africa, but also around the world as well. So things like pollution, guys. That's why it's very important not to litter. If we are littering, we are putting plastic and paper and metal into the environment, where it could cause injuries and sickness to our animals, not just to our seabirds, but all animals right now. This guy over here, we're just busy feeding him. So, as I mentioned before, in a real rehab center, you're kind of going to get injured. And that's because all of these animals are wild. They are going to attack us. And we kind of want them to attack us. It means they're wild. If they don't attack us, it means that they're too tame. They're like our cats and dogs at home, and they like people too much. And if they like people too much, they can't actually survive if we do release them back into the wild, which is why we're force feeding this guy. So we're opening his beak and we're forcing food down his throat instead of just feeding him fish from the hand. So we don't want him to get used to being fed by human hands as well. And right now he's just demonstrating one of 2 methods to defend himself. You'll see the flippers were actually flapping around. That is flipper slapping. Very, 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 very painful. Take it from me. Their flippers are pure cartilage and bone, so very, very strong, very, very hard. And these guys over here reach 24 kilometers an hour in the water. So this is some homework. I'm sure the teachers will be very, very happy, even though it is the last day of school. But you can convert 24 kilometers an hour into miles an hour and see how actual fast that is for African penguins. But if you can imagine somebody with a bat hitting you several times a second in the legs or the arms, that's flipper slapping. So I prefer that over the, I prefer the biting over the flipper slapping, to be honest. On this side over here, we have some more penguins. This is our nursery, so should be for all of our older chicks, but it looks like these guys are molting. So I think they've changed this pen around. These guys are all getting rid of their old, worn down feathers. So all birds molt, guys. Pigeons, doves, eagles, ostriches, um, they all lose their feathers, but seabirds, and especially penguins, have a very special molt. They molt in one big go, which is a 3-week process for African penguins. It's called a catastrophic molt. Now, if you can imagine, boys and girls, that you had to go through a catastrophic molt, which means that you have to eat 3 to 4 times more than usual. You have to double in weight. So however heavy you are right now, imagine yourself double that. And then you are stuck on land for 3 weeks, not being able to eat anything, because the moment they lose their waterproof feathers, the feathers that protect them against the cold in the ocean, they can't go into the ocean. They will get sick. They'll get hypothermic as well. So they need all of their waterproof feathers in order to survive. That's actually one of the final tests we do with them when we release them back into the wild. So we check their blood work, we check their weight, and we make sure that they have 100% waterproof feathers as well. So I'm just walking right now next to our main pens, and I just want to get to our aviary, which will house some of our flight species. But in general, as mentioned, our African penguins, along with a number of other species, are endangered, which means that there's very few of them left. And these guys over here are down to a 1% remaining of their population. So if you think of your classroom and all the children and all the teachers in your classroom, and you took everybody out except for you, that would be kind of 1%. So we've lost a lot of these guys over the years, and that's why we need your help. We need you guys to recycle. We need you guys to save water, to save electricity. We need you guys to, when you get a little bit older, volunteer at a nature reserve or anything that's helping the environment. And that is everybody's duty right now, because the environment, nature, is providing so much for us. We're getting the clean air, we're getting the fresh water, we're getting our food, we're getting the material we're using to actually build our homes and make our clothes and everything else that we have in our lives. We get medicine from nature as well. We get a whole host of things. And if the environment and if nature is destroyed, we will not be able to get any of those things any longer. Now, this is our main aviary. I just want to see if it's going to look better up close or not. Slightly. So we have a number of juvenile kelp gulls in here, which are very large seagulls. I'm sure you guys have gulls on your side. And then we also have a very special bird in here. But unfortunately, I'm not allowed to go in here. But it's on that yellow matting over there. And that's one of our most endangered species. It's a bank cormorant. Now, guys, if you thought African penguins were endangered, bank cormorants are down to 300 breeding pairs. So there's 600 individuals remaining on the planet. So they are very, very endangered. So yeah, a lot of our flight birds come into these larger aviaries. So this is an enclosed space that prevents them from flying around and hurting themselves. But in general, we're in a bit of a crisis right now. Now, most of the animals that come to us are hurt or sick or injured, but at the moment, we are facing a very deadly disease. It's called avian influenza. So it's kind of like the flu for birds. And we are actually unable to release birds because we got a few positive cases here in the center. So what that means is we've had to quarantine. We have to keep our birds here until we get a negative test, until we know that no bird is sick. And what that means is now, guys, we have about 450 birds that we've kept on site since October. And if you don't know, one of the main reasons penguins and seabirds in general, but especially for penguins, are on the planet is to eat fish. And they eat a lot of fish. Just want to quickly see if I can't get a little bit closer to these guys. So each penguin that is not molting, so that's not losing their feathers, that doesn't have to get super big, each penguin eats 6 to 10 fish a day, guys. So 6 to 10 fish a day. So you times that by 450. And at the moment, we are going through about 28 5-kilogram boxes of fish daily. Now, that, let me tell you, is a lot of fish. It is a lot of resources, and in general, it is quite necessary, because without feeding our animals, we would never be able to take care of them. They'd never be able to get better, and they wouldn't obviously be releasable. But because we run on donations, guys, because we run on the generosity of the public, and also let's not forget our volunteers over here, which are people that are coming for free to come and help us with the birds. Without those people, we would not be able to run. Now, we have actually handled 50 different types of seabirds. So that we cormorants, gulls, terns, oyster catchers, pelicans, parasitic jaegers, things like albatross, which we get on rare occasion. We'll get other types of penguins as well, mostly rockhoppers. And we've actually brought in, rehabilitated, and saved over 100,000 marine birds since our founding back in 1968. So that was 54 years ago. We've saved over 100,000 birds, but it's all thanks to people like yourself. I'm just going to quickly turn it around. All thanks to people like yourself. So, in general, what we need is a collective effort from everybody around the world to recycle, to save water, save electricity, eat less fish, or become vegetarian if you can. It is difficult for some people, but anything you're doing, anything is going to help us save not just our animals, but all animals. And that is very, 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 very important. It is up to the new generation to help the old generation see the light. So I'm just going to quickly show you our admissions room. So this is Michelle. Michelle is one of our bird rehabbers, so she is responsible for all the training here. She does a lot of the stats work as well. She assists our vet with operations. Just want to quickly show you one of our surgical theaters over here. Let me just put the light on. So this is one of our surgical theaters. So this is where we do operations on our birds as well. So we do have a vet which works with us, but we do also get other vets that come in that are doing their prac here to come and help us as well. And that's just because having one vet do everything is nearly impossible. We also have our intensive care unit. So this would be for the weakest and most injured of birds. As you can see, we have our crossover there. And this would have individuals that are very, very weak or very, very injured, and they have to be separated. They're not in best of condition. They can't survive out in the sun and the rain and that sort of thing as well. So they need to be close to the vet and close to the medication as well. This board is actually showing all the species we're expecting for the year. So just to quickly show you, you obviously saw those tags on our penguins. So the very next African penguin, which is the top left, is going to be our 944th African penguin we received in 2022. And when we get to the new year, we're going to reset that number. So as you can see, we haven't gotten any rockhoppers yet. We haven't gotten any king penguins. We've gotten 4 bank cormorants. So there's a number of species that we have received. And obviously, these animals all came here needing our help and getting better as well. So we have a fairly high success rate with our rehabilitation. It's 80 to 85%. And obviously, as a hospital, we can't save everybody, but we do give the best efforts. This is our laboratory over here. So we're checking x-rays, we have all of our medical books, and then over here, we have our x-ray machine, which is a mobile x-ray machine, actually. So a lot of these big items are actually donated to us. For instance, our operating table, the table that you saw in the operations room, that actually comes from a place called Rotanga Junction when they were closing down. Rotanga Junction is like a very, very, very small Disneyland. So when they were closing down, we were like, we need your tables, and we grabbed their tables. We got laundry lines from them. We got a number of other things as well. So yeah, very, very, very important. Now this room is the most important room in SANCCOB. And I'm sure some of you guys can guess, it is the sushi parlor, the food prep room, the kitchen. So this area, we go through an immense amount of resources, lots of medication, lots of fish, and yeah, we have to make sure that we have lots of supply as well. But guys, if you ever volunteer at a rehab facility, right? Let me just quickly change this around. So guys, if you ever volunteer at a rehabilitation facility, and it's a true rehabilitation facility, so their main aim is to get animals back again into the wild, then what you're going to be doing mostly is dirty work. So it's the laundry, it's the cleaning, it's the food prep, it's all the dirty work that needs to be done in the background that can get our birds back into good health. Now, that doesn't mean that we don't touch our animals. We have to feed them, we have to give them medicine, we have to tube them. So we give them fluids if they're thirsty, if we give them smoothies as well. We give them things like the equivalent of Energade, which is called Darrows. But when the animals are here, we're only touching them about 10% of the time. So it's very little time that we spend with them. And that's just because we have to worry about them getting too used to being around people. And then also, we have to be very careful about stress. Now, I don't know if you guys know about stress. I'm sure you guys do. So whenever your tests come through, you're very, very, very worried, things like that. So that worry is actually a problem for birds in general. So I have just gotten back to my office, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a few videos. However, because we have just lost power, my computer is off, so I'm just going to quickly switch it on. But in the meantime, let me tell you a few facts about our penguins, our African penguins. So in general, there are 18 different species of penguin. And a lot of people automatically assume that they're only found in cold conditions. So places like Antarctica. And there are species that live in Antarctica, but only 4 of 18. So most of the species of penguin actually live in warmer places, like New Zealand, Australia, South America, and South Africa. And there's even a penguin species that lives near the equator. So all of those animals have actually evolved and survived in those kinds of climates. Sorry, just give me a moment. I'm just going to put my password in. Also, penguins first evolved from New Zealand a few million years ago. So that, at the time, Antarctica was about half as close as what it currently is right now. And what that means is that's kind of how they moved around. But you'll notice that the penguin species are actually only in the south, not in the north hemisphere, only in the south. So if you guys don't know about hemispheres, if you look at the world map, we've kind of drawn an invisible line in the middle of it, which is basically half the world. And the south, so the bottom half is the south hemisphere, and the north, the top part, is the north hemisphere as well. So most, if no, all of the penguins are actually in the south hemisphere. And as mentioned, they're in a lot of different places, but there is one penguin that lives near the equator, which is the Galapagos penguin. So they're in a very warm location for where they are. African penguins also can dive to amazing depths. So in general, when seabirds, lots of different species, dive underneath the water to get their fish, and a lot of them can dive to very impressive depths, but in general, not further than about 15 meters. So 15 meters is still very impressive because that's about 5 stories. Our African penguins can actually go to 120 meters. So that is if you guys are standing on the 40th floor of a building looking down. That is how deep they can go. So it is actually very, 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 very deep. Okay, just give me a moment, guys. Okay. There we go. Sorry about that. African penguins also, like all penguins, are black and white. So they are black and white for 3 main reasons, actually. It's predominantly used as camouflage, so it hides them away from their predators. It also is used for temperature control. So if they're getting too warm, they face the sun, the white reflects light, the black absorbs heat. And then also, a lot of people don't know, but there is a third reason. And I kind of want to ask you guys, can you come up with the third reason? Can you give me what that third reason, why all penguins are black and white? So when we get to our questionnaire section, maybe each class can just give me their one answer and we can see who gets it right or not. But I have gotten my computer running right now, so I am just going to quickly put on a video for you guys. I'm just going to turn it around. So this video is actually detailing one of our most important aspects and one that we are desperately in need of right now, volunteers. So these are the guys that are actually coming in that actually are helping us save our animals. This is in our chick rearing unit. So this would be an intern right now, and she's taking care of some of our youngest of chicks. So as Joe mentioned, we are a chick rearing unit. We do take care of African penguin chicks and other species of seabird chicks as well. So yes, unfortunately I don't have any sound on this, so I'll just be explaining what they're saying. So as they grow older, we obviously want them to get them into good enough condition, and our main goal is to release them. So we actually get volunteers from all around the world. We get a lot of American volunteers as well. I'm pretty sure we have a few Canadian volunteers as well. But we get from the UK and we get from Europe. And they're all coming from different walks of life. They're studying different things. They have different jobs, but they're all united in trying to help us save this amazing species. And this video is just basically detailing just a very, very quick overview of what we're doing. All the packaging, all the food prep, all the handling of the birds and the feeding and everything like that as well. So this is one of the most important aspects in our center right now, because without our volunteers, we would never, ever, ever be able to take care of as many animals as we do. So it does require quite a lot of attention to detail. You need to be determined. You need to have a very high pain threshold because you are being bitten and flipper slapped and injured here. But we are doing an amazing job to take care of these animals. And we will not stop doing this job until we have saved all of our species as well. So just from my side, I know you guys are a little bit young. You kind of have to be 18 years and older to come and volunteer here just because of the safety aspects, maturity, and also legal things. But in general, we definitely can use your help in the future. And if you ever have an opportunity to come to South Africa, please come and visit us and come and help us as well. We definitely will need your help. Okay. We then have, I'm just going to quickly, we then have this video. I just want to quickly see if it's the right one. So I do want to show you our ultimate goal. So our ultimate goal obviously is to get our animals better, but it is also predominantly to release them. And I want to show you a video on that as well. So here we go. So most of our patients take about 2 to 3 months to get better. It really depends on why they came to the hospital and what they needed to get fixed. Some of them we just needed to feed a little bit to get into good health. Others needed operations or certain medications. So it really depends on why they came to the hospital. But ultimately, our main goal is to do this, to get them back out into the wild. And before our quarantine, before we got hit by this disease, we were actually doing releases every single week. So because we got so many patients every single day, we were doing releases every single week in the colonies. So we release them in colonies, which is basically a group of penguins. We could release them at Boulders Beach, which is very infamous. It's a very popular penguin colony. Lots and lots of people around the world know about it. And the less well-known Stony Point colony as well. So we release them in the colonies because it gives them a greater chance of survival. And if we did release them, say for instance, on any random beach, there's a very high likelihood that they could be eaten or injured in some way. So we kind of want to give them the best chance possible because it was a lot of hard work to get them into good health as well. This is a video of us taking care of our babies. So these guys over here are the very young individuals. And right now, what we're doing is we're giving some smoothie. I don't know if you guys like smoothie or not, but this is fish smoothie. So not strawberry or chocolate milkshake that you might be thinking of right now. This is a blended fish mixed with vitamins, minerals. So it's a very healthy dessert for our animal. But that is also supplemented by our fish pieces. So guys, this little guy over here is around about 2 weeks old. And in another month and a week, he's going to be adult sized. Now to give you guys some idea, I'm just going to pause the video here, of how fast that is. Okay. So everybody take their hands. Oh, sorry, that's right. Take your hands and put your thumb on your chin and your finger above your nose. So that is basically how big an African penguin chick is when they're born from the egg. Now, they will be adult-sized in a month and a half, and then they will be out of their house, kicked out of their nest at 3 months of age. So if you guys all grew as fast as a penguin, you would be born today, and then on Saturday, you will be adult-sized, and then on Monday, you will be having to look for your new home. So you'll get kicked out of your house. So you'll be 5 days of being a kid. So that's pretty fast, I have to say. So a lot of seabirds, they actually do grow very quickly because it's a lot of pressure on the parents to keep looking after them for long periods of time. There's lots of chances of them being eaten as well. So the chicks have to grow very, very quickly so that they spend as little time as possible taking care of them. That's not to say that they're not good parents. Penguins are amazing parents. In fact, some people need to learn a lesson from our penguins, because when penguins find their partners, they stick together for life and they form lifelong partnerships. They share all their responsibilities equally down the middle. So both the mom and the dad build the nests, they take care of the young, they defend the nest against potential predators, and also they go and hunt for their young as well. So it is a lot of effort, it's a lot of hard work, and it can only be done by two parents, not by one. So that's the reason why penguins form lifelong bonds as well. However, as you can see, we do have babies. And most of the blues you saw outside were babies with us as well. So these are babies that have been abandoned. And we actually have two chick seasons. The reason why we have so many individuals in the center right now is because we've come through one of our chick seasons, which is October, November, and then it weans off in December. And that's kind of our Christmas chicks. We usually get hundreds and hundreds of them because of molting, because it's kind of a little bit warmer than what it should be, and the parents are all molting and losing their feathers at the wrong time. So they can't go and hunt for their chicks, so they actually just leave their babies. So we have rangers in the colonies, and they go out and they evaluate the nests and they check for any abandoned chicks. Oh yeah, and they also get teddy bears as well. Very, very important. So they evaluate the colonies, and they actually pick up any abandoned chicks and they transport them here, and we raise them. It's a lot of hard work. As you can see, that video was just one of our babies. So imagine you got 200 extra after that to take care of. But yeah, we do quite a lot here in the center. We have a research department. We obviously have an education department, which is why I'm very, very happily doing this with you guys right now. We have a fundraising team, which job is an immense job of making all the money we need to keep running here at the center as well. So we are trying everything and anything possible to do our jobs. And once again, we just need your help. We just need you to actually help the environment any way you can. Plant trees, if you can remove invasive species, if you can do beach cleanups if you're along the coastline. Obviously, please do this with your parents. Please be careful if you are picking up any litter or anything like that. Safety first for anything. But anything you do for the environment is helping us. And if you guys are already recycling in your schools, I want to thank you very, 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 very much. There is a lot of issues that we get due to, especially plastic-related issues as well. Just want to quickly see if I've got that here. But otherwise, yes, I think we can move over into our question section.
Yeah, Alex, I just wanted to pop in and say we're getting tons of questions in the YouTube chat. I think we should jump into Q&A mode if you're up for it.
Definitely.
All right, awesome. So keep those questions coming in the chat, and we'll bring in a few of our classroom groups. Don't forget to give us your third theory as to why you think that the penguins are that black and white color. So let's go first to... let's go to Ottawa, Ontario. Some grade 5, 6s hanging out with us. Let me bring them in here from Churchill Alternative. How are we doing today, everybody?
Hello.
All right. Who's got a question for us?
Who's got a question? Anyone? Jacqueline, go ahead,
Do you are those the only species of penguins you have, or do you have more?
So at the moment, we have 3 rock hoppers. I can't actually move into the area where they are because remember we're under quarantine, but I am going to see if I can't just show you them from the observation platform. So I'm just going to change this around again. Hopefully I don't lose signal.
So far, so good.
So guys, yay. Okay, so this, guys, as you can see, looks very, very different from the rest of our hospital. And that's just because these individuals are permanent residents. So they're hurt in a way that they can't actually be released back into the wild, or a few of them are too tame. But unfortunately, the rock hoppers, which are the guys with the really cool hairdo, are not up front. So I won't be able to show them to you, very, very sadly. But if you are interested, I'm sure I can send Joe a picture or a clip or two, and then he can share that around at a later date. Okay, let's get back to the questions, guys.
All right. Let me bring in Miss Scott's sixth graders, see if they have a question on deck for us.
Hi, guys. We have a question actually for Alex.
Yes.
Jenna, do you want to come up? We have lots of questions, but we have one that we wanted to ask Alex.
All right.
Introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Vanessa. Hi, I'm Vanessa, and my question is, do you enjoy working with the penguins and why?
Okay. So, Alex, if in case you might not have heard that, it's do you enjoy working with the penguins and why? I think that was the question.
Okay, so with my position, I actually do most of the tours and the school groups and the online lessons and that sort of thing. I don't usually handle the penguins, although we normally have a bit of a crisis almost every single year now. So when we are in crisis situation, our education department tends to close down so we can concentrate on the birds and save them. So at the moment, I am actually working in the center, and I am enjoying it very, 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 very much. But I also enjoy teaching as well. And I think it's one of the very few and most important things we can actually do just to educate and create more awareness of the situation in the world at the moment and how we can better ourselves and others as well. But yeah, as mentioned, we do get bitten and flipper slapped a lot. A number of the species, like the gannets, the cormorants, they tend to go for the face. So we have to wear PPE, arm guards, gloves, that sort of thing. Eye protection, very, very important as well. But yeah, no, it's a wonder. It's really nice, especially when we do releases and return them back into the wild. It's a beautiful event. Thank you for the question.
All right. I see a few classes as well asking about the Kahoot today. So what I'm going to do, I made a little Kahoot quiz in the background, Alex, and I'm going to send that link to the classrooms after today's event, and they can compete against their fellow students and see how they do with their Kahoot quiz and what they learned today from your lesson. Mr. Hancock's crew, let's bring you in front and center. How are we doing today?
Very well. Thank you very much for that presentation, Alex. I really enjoyed you talking about the idea that every little thing we do over here, we're over in Canada, makes a big difference. We were wondering exactly how do you find the penguins? Where do you find them? Like, what's the location process for rescuing and getting them into your care?
So, as mentioned, we do possess rangers, but they're based in the colonies. Most of the 2,000 to 2,500 patients we actually get thanks to the general public. So it's thanks to the general public going to the beach or driving down the coastline. They'll notice any injured birds, and they'll call us, and then we'll send out one of our volunteer drivers to go and pick up the bird and then bring them back to the center. So it's literally from the get-go that the general public help us. It's not just the monetary donations, in-kind donations. So as you guys saw on the clip of the chicks, the teddy bear, that's an in-kind donation. So we get teddy bears for our babies because they love the comfort, so they cuddle up against them. And also it tricks the babies into thinking there's more competition for food. So everything you've seen in the center, the syringes, the fish, although the fish is purchased through donations, the towels, everything like that is a donation to the center as well. So that, and then we obviously have a lot of partnerships with other conservation organizations that are managing the nature reserves and the colonies as well. So we have good relationships with places like the Two Oceans Aquarium, Cape Nature, Sand Parks, and it's very important that we collaborate and we share our information and what's happening there in the wild, because if we don't have a broader scope of or the grander picture, how can we make any changes? How can we make any difference? So at the moment, we are very much into saving our 450 birds a year, but we still have to keep our ears and eyes open from the outside and seeing what's happening in the colonies and how we can assist them, because it's not just the 450, it's all the other species and seabirds that we are going to get that need our help as well. So yeah, I hope I answered your question.
All right. Let's grab a couple here quickly from YouTube. So Mr. Wigmore's crew wants to know, what's the size of an average adult penguin?
Okay, so that's a very interesting question, because as far as I'm aware, the internet has gotten that wrong. So the internet, if you ever look on the internet, they usually say that the African penguin is bigger than what it should be. It should be 45 centimeters. So that should be, well, no, that's what they say it is, 45 centimeters. That's not the case. It's around about 35, maybe going up to 40. So they slightly exaggerate the size of there. But yeah, they're a small to medium-sized penguin, not the smallest species. That title will go to fairy penguins. They are in Australia. So they're about 30, maybe 25 centimeters. And then the largest being our emperor penguins in Antarctica, which are 1.3 meters. So yeah, they're pretty big.
Okay, another one here from YouTube is, Danny wants to know from Mrs. Dennison's class, how long can a penguin survive without fish?
Okay, so that really depends on the condition of the animal. So if it just suddenly stopped finding fish, it would still have fat reserves. So it would still be good for a couple of days, but eventually it will start using that. And for penguins, because they are unable to fly, they do mostly swimming. So for our African penguins, they spend anything from 70 to 85% of their life in the water. And that means that it's a lot of energy that they need to swim through the water as well. So it's about a week or so, I would say, but then it will be a very emaciated individual. So you'll see the keel bone, and that's when we really start to worry as well. So yes.
All right, we have to go to Fergus. We have some students joining us from John Black.
Hey,
There they are. Hey, everybody.
Good morning.
Morning.
All right.
I was wondering, what type of fish is the most popular for the penguins?
Okay, so that is a very so here at the center, we feed them A-grade sardines. So it has to be best quality fish. Now we do purchase our fish from local fisheries, and they did want to donate fish to us in the past, but it would be lesser grade fish. So fish that isn't the best quality. And unfortunately, we can't use that type of fish to feed them, because then they wouldn't get as better as fast as possible. So we purchase all of our fish, and we usually go through, I'll tell you how much we're going through at the moment. So we're going through 28 boxes of fish every day. Each box of fish is 5 kilograms. So that's 148 kilograms of fish we're going through every single day. And each box of fish is 500 Rand for us. So if you convert that to dollars, it's not really a lot of money, but 500 Rand on our side is a lot of money. So it's one of our main expenses here at the center. But the fish that we're using, because it comes to us frozen, it loses some vital vitamins and minerals through the freezing process. So we actually have to supplement the fish. So we have to put things like canical, canivit, thiamine on the fish. We have to hide vitamin tablets in the gills or in the mouth. Penguins are very, very smart. If they see a tablet, they're not eating it. And then also, because the fish gets frozen, it dehydrates the fish. And for seabirds, they get most of their fresh water from the fish that they eat. So we also have to give them water to hydrate them, and that's why we have syringes in the center as well. Yeah, thank you for the question. That was really cool. I'm just going to the chat. Mr. Hancock, he said black and white to help with being hunted or confused predators like zebras. That would be the first reason I mentioned. So that would be the camouflage, not the third reason I'm asking.
All right. Cool. Any of the classrooms who are there with us, if you have an idea for that third reason, put it in the chat or wave your hand at the camera and we can see if any other classrooms think they might know that third reason why they have that black and white coloring. I think Miss Scott's class, I think someone there had their hand up. What do you think? Oh, can you grab the mute for me, Miss Scott?
Oh no, we were just we were just discussing what the third reason could possibly be. I thought you wanted us to answer.
So you're still thinking about it, or do you have a guess?
We have some guesses. So
sure.
Anika, really loud.
It's for the climate, for the warm climate.
So she thinks to adapt to warm climate. And Jasmine?
To camouflage.
To camouflage. Those are two guesses.
Okay.
All right.
So yeah, we had camouflage before, and we had temperature control. There is a third different reason though. Maybe I should give you guys a clue. Otherwise, nobody's going to get it.
That sounds good. Let's get a clue.
So it is only to do with in the water, nothing to do with on land. Only in the water, nothing on land. That is the clue. And don't worry if you don't get it. Only about 10 people in the last 5 years have given me the third reason. So whoever gets it right, you're kind of part of my tour if you do get it right.
All right. Good stuff. Well, pop something in the chat if anybody thinks they know the answer. I think I see a few online here. Let me see online. Some think it's for attracting a mate, but we know it's in the water now. Some think it's something for hunting. Does it give them an advantage for hunting? Oh, we just lost Alex. I think he might have hit the wrong button, but he seemed excited by that reason. So let's see if he's able to come back and join us. But it looks like it might be some kind of hunting benefit. So we'll see if he can come back. We'll squeeze in a couple more questions, and then we'll turn everybody loose for the holidays.
Sorry about that. Okay.
That's okay. So you seemed excited when hunting, for hunting purposes.
So guys, for penguins, when they go and hunt, they usually go in groups. When they find a shoal of fish, they use coordination and tactics to move the shoal closer to the surface of the water. That's usually called a bait ball. And there's quite a number of other predators that usually flock and attack the bait ball. But the penguins, they go from the bottom, and each individual then dives into the ball. The black and white feathers confuses the fish's eyes and destroys the synchronicity of the shoal, which allows them to actually capture individuals a lot easier. So it's the same reason why certain species of shark and killer whales have that coloration. They use that same hunting technique. So well done to whoever got that right. Congratulations.
All right. Shout out to Miss Varden's crew for putting that answer in there. That's great. Okay. Let's squeeze in a couple more before I wrap for today. Churchill Alternative, do you have another question for us? I think I see someone waving with a Santa hat further back.
I just need to switch the mute off.
Yeah, if you have another question, send somebody up front for us. Oh, here they come.
We're very excited to try the Kahoot game, so that's what we're logging into at the moment.
Okay, perfect. Let's see John Black.
I see someone there. I have a question. What is the most popular species of seagulls?
I don't imagine being considered popular. We have 3 different species in South Africa, which are our gray-headed gulls, which are usually found more on the east coast. Our heart-lip gulls, which are the most common species that we find here in Cape Town. So if you guys ever visit, it will be the smallest species. And then the largest gulls that we have are kelp gulls. And they're usually quite noticeable. They're fairly large. But also they have a red spot on their beak, and that's a very interesting tell. The red spot is the baby's dinner bell. So when the baby gets hungry, they actually tap on the red spot, letting them know that they want to be fed. So the parents will either regurgitate food or they go and hunt for some food as well. But those gulls aren't really the most popular species, and that's just because their populations are very numerous. They're feeding off our rubbish dumps, and they're feeding from us. And in America and UK especially, they're tending to attack people just for the food that they're carrying. So it is actually very beneficial for us because people love penguins. Penguins are cute. Penguins are adorable. If we just handled seagulls, we wouldn't get as many donations in because a lot of people wouldn't be interested in saving the seagulls, even though seagulls do have a very important ecological function. Okay, yeah, great question. Who's next?
All right, excellent. Well, Alex, I do want to touch on a couple things before we wrap up today. And the first one is just to share a link with the students here. So I'm just going to pop this up here. If you want to visit and find out a little bit more about the work that Alex and the whole team are doing, sounds like an amazing group of dedicated volunteers as well. You can visit the website and then look for options as well to adopt a penguin. I think that could be such a fun thing to do as a classroom, to adopt a penguin and help support the work that they're doing. In the past, we've had classrooms do things like collect bottles and things like that to get refunds, or some classes do bake sales and other things like that to raise a little bit of money to adopt a class penguin. So definitely consider that. I think that could be a great thing to do in the new year when you get back to school, and a great way to kind of do your part and spread the word about the great work that SANCCOB is doing. So Alex, I'm so glad we started doing these events again. It's been a little while. It's so great to see you, and it's so great to see all of the work. I know it's hard and it's not easy some days, but it's so great to see everybody moving around and doing all that great work to get those penguins back into the wild.
Well, once again, it's not possible without the general public. So a big thank you to everybody that's joined me. Thank you very much, Joe, for the invitation and allowing me to reconnect as well. It's been really, really great. I hope to reconnect with you in 2023. And yeah, just to all the educators and learners, obviously this will be the first and last time I see you, but hopefully not. But I wish you all a very Merry Christmas. Please stay safe, and a very happy New Year's. Stay safe in the festive season, but enjoy it. Enjoy the holidays.
All right. Well, a few classrooms have had to duck out for recess and Christmas parties and things like that, but we still have a few backstage. So if you guys want to come in and loud here for Alex, the penguins will hear you outside. Thank you so much for being with us. Happy holidays, everybody.
Thank you.
FC Buckets!
All right.
FC Buckets!
Thanks so much, everybody. We're going to sign off for today.